Hi, everyone. Wow. Thanks for coming to the expo, and thanks for coming to hear me speak. I race in cross-country skiing, and I got diagnosed with celiac in 2008. And since then, I've been to 2 Olympics. I raced in Vancouver, and I raced in Sochi, just got back from there a few weeks ago. And for the past 2 years, I've been traveling pretty much nonstop. The longest time I've spent in the same place was 2 weeks, and just constantly on the road, and for training and racing, and it was all basically for Sochi Olympics. I did training camps anywhere from New Zealand to US, Canada, glacier skiing, and the racing. I left for the World Cup season in November, and I just got back mid-March from Europe, and traveling all over the world, training, racing, and eating gluten-free. I'm very strict with my diet, just because I train so hard and spend all my energy and all my life into being the best I can on ski trails. So for me, food is like fuel. It's so important for me to eat well, not just gluten-free 100%, but also good food. Like, I can't eat junk food. I travel with a juicer. I juice all the time. I'm crazy about food. And a lot of people ask me, how do I do it? How can I travel and eat on the road? Because it's really scary, like, especially if you just got diagnosed and you're just learning everything about, what you can and can't eat. Can be really, really scary, intimidating. Even going for dinner at your friend's house, and you don't want to offend them. You don't want to say, sorry, I can't eat anything you make. So it's a real challenge sometimes. And some places you go, and some friends get so excited, like, oh my God, everything going to be gluten-free. I'm going to sanitize my whole kitchen before you show up. And that's pretty sweet. And then other people have no idea what you're talking about. So there's a whole range that, you'll be faced with, and probably a lot of you know. Yeah, and I travel a lot of food. I show up at the restaurants with my own food. I show up at my friends' houses with my own food. And it's really, it's not hard, if you prepare and just sort of get a little bit of your comfort zone and tell people, okay, this is what I'm going to be eating. Like, for example, sometimes I get invited for dinner and it's last minute, and I didn't get a chance to tell them, oh yeah, don't forget that I can't eat anything that's not gluten-free, and they make lasagna. So I usually show up with my own food. I come and say, hey, thanks for inviting me. This was great. What did you make? And first thing, I go to the kitchen and see what it's like if there's breadcrumbs everywhere or not. What they're making, what's in the salad dressing, and I ask all these questions. And I'm very nosy, but at the same time, you have to be polite. You just this is what it's like, and I just want to read. I'm just going to go through your garbage, look at your labels, read what's in that thing. And you just just don't worry, I'll go through your garbage, I'll wash my hands afterwards, it's fine. And then, I bring my own food, and, if, for example, somebody makes lasagna, I always, I'll bring some pasta or something and say, oh, I brought some pasta, some pesto sauce, some Parmesan cheese. I'll just throw myself quick little pasta, and then we can all have dinner together. So you can work around all these things just as long as you're prepared, and that this could happen. And sometimes you don't even have time. Like, you show up at your friend's house, and you didn't bring anything, and there's lasagna, and you're like, okay, well, let me look in your fridge. And then I'll just go through the fridge and see what's there and sort of whip something up for myself. There's always be rice or corn or whatever in their pantry, so you could usually make something. And people appreciate it too. They know how important it is to you, and they respect that. And don't feel bad showing up at your friend's house and eating your own food. So that's totally fine. When I travel, like I said, I'm on the road in Europe for 4.5 months. And some countries you go to, it's incredible. Like, if you've ever been to Finland or Sweden or Norway, you can have gluten-free McDonald's in every McDonald's. Burger King is gluten-free. Everybody knows what it is. Sections of gluten-free are huge at the grocery stores. It's so easy to be gluten-free in Scandinavian countries. Same with Italy. Italy is really easy. You have the one thing though, they sell their gluten-free products at the pharmacies, but the selection is incredible. So if you go to the grocery store, you don't find anything, go check out the pharmacy. And even small little villages, go to the pharmacy, there's products, and if they don't have it, you can order it and then bring it the next day. And Russia, where they've never heard what celiac is, especially in Russia. They have no idea what it is. You tell them you're allergic to all these things, they look at you like you're allergic to air. And they have no idea. It's like, what do you mean you can't eat bread? I'm like, I can't eat bread. And like I said, like for myself, it's important that I eat well. My normal breakfast is toast and eggs and cheese. When I ski race, this is what I eat. I know I can race on that breakfast. My stomach is going to be fine. Like I won't feel sick to my stomach, and I can race on this. So when I was going to Sochi, I was there. We were there a year in advance to check out the facilities, and I figured, I was like, okay, there's nothing here I can eat. Only buckwheat kasha and rice kasha, like rice porridge is all I could eat. So last summer before the games, I started thinking like, okay, we're going to be at the Olympics. It's 3 weeks I'm there. I can't bring enough bread for 3 weeks for myself, and it will crumble in the bag. So I thought, okay, what can I do? I always travel with a bag of oats, like a big, big bag of oats. I call it my emergency oats. Sometimes it's quinoa flakes too. Something can just add hot water, and if there's no food available, I know for 2 days I can live off that bag of oats. I travel with bagels because they're usually kind of sturdy, they don't fall apart, and I always try to travel with a loaf of bread, so I bring a frozen bread as my carry-on. So I'm in the airport with a bag of bread. Because it's so fragile, it crumbles, I can't put it in my bags, so I just carry it in my hand. And usually I can bring one loaf of bread that lasts me for first half of a week wherever I go. But Russia, 3 weeks, far away, I can't bring enough bread. I need bread, this is my normal breakfast. I can't buy anything there, so I actually went online, like I do, and started Googling. And Glutino is my favorite brand. I live in Banff. We have no gluten-free products there, like so little. But there's always Glutino bread, and there's a few little things. The selection is tiny, but I always eat Glutino bread because this is what we have. And I Googled Glutino, and I saw, oh, it's a Canadian brand. Cool, they're from Montreal. All the stuff is made in Canada. And I also saw that they're same age as me. So I'm like, okay, we're meant to be together. So I called them and I said, I'm an Olympian and I'm going to Sochi and I need their bread for myself before my races. And I said, please help me any way you can. This country is disastrous. There's no products and I'm going to race there. I trained for this for 4 years. I can't just eat rice porridge every morning and expect that I'm going to be, ready for the competitions. And the girl on the phone didn't know what to say. She's like, oh, we've never done anything like this before. And I'm like, please, please, please help me. I really need your bread. So we talked and over the summer sort of kept in touch. And then eventually said, yeah, we can do it. We can send you some flour. And there's a Canadian chef who was at the Olympics who made me fresh bread. The same Glutino bread that I buy at the store, except it was fresh. It was awesome. So it worked out super well. I had my normal breakfast in Russia, which is 12 time zones away from here. I had my bread. It was same breakfast. I knew my breakfast was good before the competition. And yeah, it was incredible. It was really, really cool. And the funny thing is, there's a lot of other athletes who are gluten-free, either because they're celiacs, or some do it for just they think they perform better, which is cool. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh yeah, I've heard you've got some bread. I'm like, yes. Luckily, I had lots of flour, and the chef was great. There was lots of bread, so I could share with some other athletes. But it was just really, really cool. And I'm telling you about this as an example that even if you travel for competitions of your life to the country where they know nothing about gluten-free, you could make it work if you prepare yourself a little bit. There's very little information online about all different countries and what they have. Like, it's impossible to find out. Like, so go there. Like, don't be afraid to travel. don't be afraid, don't be intimidated about going to the country we don't know anything about their, gluten-free, like, awareness. Just be prepared, travel with some food, like quinoa flakes are great, emergency oats are great, bring a little bit of food with you, and don't be afraid to ask questions. And if you go in the restaurant, I always go and say hi to the chef. I'm like, hi, I have celiacs. What can we make? And they get really excited most of the time. They get really excited that, it's important to you, that you're serious about it, and and they want to help. Usually people want to help. I show you one thing. So this is, I never go anywhere without food. So I have this cool little Tupperware. It fits my bread really well. And if I don't have time to make a sandwich, I just bring bread. And I go anywhere and ask them. I say, well, can you make me a sandwich? And I say, put it on a piece of paper, like, so it's not touching the boards. And then I'd be looking and supervising what they put on the, so if it's just chicken breast and, no spreads, and just, I guess, yeah, you can do it. It's not hard. So if your friend's going out for lunch, you're like, oh yeah, I'll go out for lunch with you. I'll bring my own bread and get something made. One more thing I want to say, if you travel, you still have to read all the labels, because in some places they have the actual gluten-free products and then the so-called fake gluten-free products. And in Europe they have, and it would be the same brand name, and you would read in this one thing, this bread has all gluten-free ingredients, and some other one, like second or third ingredient, would be wheat starch. And you're like, all right, this is wheat starch, this is not gluten-free. And then you keep on reading, and it says at the bottom there is some gluten in the product. So I read it, I don't buy it. And sometimes, you get served that. For example, I was in Italy this winter before Olympics, and we got to the hotel, and I went to meet the chef. The first people we meet at the hotels and we make friends with is the chef and the cleaning lady. The cleaning lady, because once we make friends with cleaning lady, we ask her not to lock the laundry room so we can go do our laundry for free. And usually they're very nice. And the chef, because of the food. So I'll go meet the chef and talk to him and say, I'm so-and-so, and I'm very strict diet. I brought some food, you can cook this is how you make it. At the same time, like snooping all over the kitchen, like looking at what they do, and if something I don't like, I would tell them, I said, just can you please cook it here in this pot, don't cook it here. And usually they're really cool. So this chef got really excited. He was like, oh, this is awesome, I'll make you the best gluten-free food ever. Next morning at breakfast, I get like a basket of croissants. I'm like, wow, I've never seen croissants in my life that's gluten-free. So I took like a minute, just like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, I'm not sure, like this is too good to be true. So I go back and I'm like, oh, thank you, the croissants look amazing. Can I please read what's in there? How did you make them? They look so good, like beautiful, you've done a great job. So they go in the garbage and look for the label. Like it's like it was a frozen croissants that he just bake. So he looks for the packaging, and sure enough, first ingredient is wheat starch. And I'm like, well, you know what? There's wheat starch in here. And I show it to him. I said, this is not exactly gluten-free. And he didn't know. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, but now he knows. So yeah, you just talk to them, and yeah, you can make it work. So yeah, I guess my message to you is don't be afraid to travel. Don't be afraid to go to your friend's house. Ask a lot of questions and be nosy, but also don't say, oh, I'm such a downer, like it's just so bad that I can't eat any of your food. Just, it's totally fine. People understand, people respect that. A lot of people get really excited that you're trying to figure it out and still hanging out with your friends or traveling. And some places you'll be pleasantly surprised how easy it is to be gluten-free. New Zealand is incredible. Like, it's a gluten-free paradise. Almost every restaurant has like all the substitutes you can think of. They know everything about it. Very knowledgeable, very clean. Like, there's no fake gluten-free in New Zealand, so you don't have to worry about that. Scandinavia is really easy. Italy, very easy. And then, in Czech Republic, you might be eating a lot of goulash, and in Russia, you're eating a lot of borscht soup, something that's naturally gluten-free, but not so many substitutes, but which is fine. There's still lots of good food, and yeah, it's interesting what yeah, you can find on the road. I travel to England quite a bit, and usually I don't have time even to go shop because my best friend lives there, and I just go see her. And I eat a lot of Indian food there. And it's, same. I just talk to the chef. I make sure it's all no flour, no of any kind. Even if I don't speak really good English, I'm like, you use any flour or anything. And then he's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, what? And he's like, chickpea. I'm like, anything else? So yeah, UK is fairly easy. There's lots of options. And I know the gluten-free products in the stores there's quite a bit. Yeah. Yes. I love bread. Like I usually, my normal breakfast would be three pieces of bread, toasted if I'm at home. I don't toast it on the road. I don't come close, don't touch the toasters. Jam, cheese, and 2 eggs. So lunch and supper, just normal meals, like full plate of food. Like I eat lots of salads, lots of vegetables. I love soups, especially in winter. It's so cold and it's nice to have a soup. Yeah, lots of meat, lots of vegetables, meat, protein, grains. Yeah, like normal food as much as possible. And I love pasta. Eating lots of pasta too. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
Do you know about the language barrier and stuff like that in regards to if you go to a different country and it's not English, how do you read the labels and communicate?
Yeah, so I tried to figure out what gluten and wheat would be in that language. So 3 or 4 words, and then if I can't even pronounce, I would write it out and I would show it. And then the other thing too is what we do is so usually book your hotel in advance, right, where you're staying, unless you're backpacking. But when for the ski racing, our hotels get booked in advance, and I have this letter. It's a PDF letter, which says, this is what I have, this is what I can't eat, and this is what I like to eat. And it's about 1 or 2 pages, and it's translated in English, French. I think it might be also Norwegian because we travel out to Scandinavia. And then my coach who books the hotel, sends that by email to the hotel. So they know in advance that, I'll be there, and they already start to figure it out. But also, so if you book something, just send them a letter, send them a note, even in English. They would appreciate that. And yeah, just know what it is in the languages, and usually can figure it out too. I don't know if I read labels on everything, so you start to know oh yeah, this is this, and yeah, just read the labels and tell them none of this. So yeah.